Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. I'm Stephen King, and we're coming to you from the press box here at Chapman Field on the campus of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. Today we're going to talk some Islanders volleyball with new head coach Steve Greene, and we're also going to be featuring Jerry Hilker, the head athletic trainer for Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. To get things started, though, we'll bring in Steve Greene. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Very good, as a matter of fact. And for yourself, I know that this is a new experience for you as you're the new head coach of Islander volleyball. You know, you were brought up a California kid. How ultimately did you get to the state of Texas?
You know, I grew up in California, like you said. I grew up in Southern California, and I was living in Northern California, and a position opened up at Houston Baptist University as assistant coach, and I flew out for my interview, and I really kind of fell in love with that program at the time and really liked the state, and it was a good opportunity for my wife and I to move up into the Division I ranks, and came to Houston Baptist, and from there went to Texas A&M up in College Station, worked there for 5 years before this opportunity opened up, and my wife and I are thrilled to be down here in Corpus Christi.
So it was one of those, I wasn't born here, but I got here as fast as I could kind of things?
Yeah, I am now probably officially called a Texan. My son was born in Texas. My wife and I, we've now lived longer together in the state of Texas than we did in California. So we are now Texans.
Now for Coach Cole and yourself, our indoor team lost 4 seniors from their NCAA tournament team, including Ivy Barsh, who was pretty much our go-to athlete on the court. Now what has been the process for looking to the future, their immediate replacements, but also replacements down the road?
You know, down the road is one of those things that, recruiting, it's so far in advance for volleyball. We're looking at freshmen and sophomores in high school, and so it's a little bit difficult because the juniors and seniors were, either already committed somewhere else or the ones that were committed here, we had to kind of secure them, make sure they still come, to the island. But after that, we're looking forward to the freshmen and sophomores coming in down the road. In the short term, the team, they're great. We return 5 starters, and so, it's not, yes, losing Ivy and losing the other 3 seniors is going to be difficult. There's going to be some team chemistry changes, things like that. But our lone going to be senior, Morgan Carlson's a great leader. She's phenomenal on the court. She's somebody who will be our go-to person in the fall. And the other returning starters are, really kind of helping lead the way as our, incoming players are coming on board.
No doubt. Now, for most of us, playing volleyball at the beach is fun. It's family time. But for NCAA athletes in the sand, it's a bit grueling, as a matter of fact. What aspects of the game are similar between the indoor and the beach game, but what are the significant differences?
The similarities, obviously there's still ball, and there's a lot of agility going on. It's a fast game. Points are scored, in the blink of an eye. If you turn one way to talk to somebody, you missed, 2 really good rallies. I'd say the big differences are each athlete has to play the whole game. You don't get an opportunity to just play front row and block and then come off the court and watch. You have to play the whole game, and our players are learning that really fast. It's kind of a trial by fire right now. But everybody, your weaknesses get exploited really fast. If your ball control isn't good, and if you can't, keep the ball on your side of the net and handle it well, then you're going to have a tough time on the beach, especially here in the wind in Corpus.
The wind. Oh, yes.
Yes.
The wind in Corpus. Now, beach volleyball started its inaugural season in the spring semester with the team opening their schedule at HBU, then traveling to TCU for tournament play. How are the ladies adapting to the sand?
I think they're adapting well. I think the hardest thing for us really is a lack of time. I've only been on campus for about 3 weeks, and we were indoors for a couple of those weeks, and so we had about a week of beach practice before we got our first competition. And so they really don't have a whole lot of experience under their belts. So that it's been a quick process to learn, but each match that we played this past weekend, we improved more and more and more, and that's really all we can ask right now. And we're competitive. We have a couple teams, Madison Woods and Madison Green. They've already got a couple wins under their belt, and they're playing great volleyball, and one's a freshman and one's technically still a high school student. She graduated early, and so this is her freshman spring here on campus. And so they've got a couple wins, and as well as Kristen Nicholson and Morgan Carlson, they've got a win under their belts as well.
You had an opportunity to play Florida State this past weekend as well, number 2 in the country. Now, you look back on that game, and I'm sure you bring it back. This is kind of pointing out, they've been doing it for about 5 years now. This is where we want to go. This is where we want to be. You knew that it was going to be a very difficult match, and nothing that really went our way in that match. But was it a great learning experience seeing someone on the other side of the court that's had, like I said, 5 years into it?
I think it really was. And, they're a phenomenal team. They're really well coached. They're very deep. They have 18 beach-only players right now on their roster. All our girls are doing both beach and indoor, and so their experience definitely showed. They're adapting on the court, on the fly. In the beach game, coaches don't get to coach during play. It's very similar to tennis in that respect. We can coach during timeouts, and their players were coaching themselves, and that's something that we're working towards. I thought our top 2 teams, the 1 and 2 spot with Brianna Brink and Kate Klepeka, and then Morgan Carlson and Kristen Nicholson, both did phenomenally well. They, right in both of those matches. Brianna and Kate actually were winning 8-4, and then again later at 11-8, and so they had an opportunity to win the first set there. But experience did end up taking over with Florida State, but. It's a phenomenal team. I have a feeling they're going to be in the national title hunt. Just watching them, they haven't lost to anyone yet, and they're deep. Their fives team is as good as anyone's team that we faced already.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, your first home beach event is scheduled for the weekend of April 1st. Familiar opponents, HBU, TCU coming to town, and this is all going to be taking place inside the Dugan Family Track and Soccer Stadium where the venue is placed. What type of experience should the fans expect coming out to be a part of this?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest changes between the indoor and the beach game. Obviously we have a great crowd here for our indoor team as well, but on the beach it's a much more casual environment. Bring the family, everybody can kind of walk around and talk, and we'll have food, concessions, everything out there. It's really a more relaxed environment. It's not literally on the beach, but we try to bring that same family vibe to it. The same, students can be out there. You can just kind of relax, get some sun, cheer on the team. We'll have music playing, things like that to really kind of make the environment much more fan-friendly, a little more fun, a little more lighthearted. There's 3 matches going on at any given time, so all 3 courts will be playing, and so you can be focused on one, or you can kind of get the general experience of all 3 teams playing at the same time.
This will be a great time, and folks, for start times of those matches, just be sure to check in at GoIslanders.com. Coach, I appreciate it, and welcome to the Island.
Thank you.
Steve Greene joining us once again here on Islanders Insider. When we come back, we have a special feature segment focusing on Islander track and field. That's all coming your way in a moment right here on Islanders Insider.
On behalf of all student athletes, thank you to the members of the Islander Athletic Fund for allowing us to earn a great education at the Island University.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to play the sports that we love.
Thank you for preparing us to achieve excellence in the classroom, in competition, and in our community.
Thank you for providing us with a first-class campus experience.
Thank you for the chance to represent Corpus Christi with pride. Thank you for making us Islanders for life.
Thank you for making us Islanders for life.
Thank you for making us Islanders for life.
My family has been growing crops here since the late 1800s.
We're Texas farmers through and through, and that's why we love HEB. They've been supporting local farms like ours for generations.
They buy more of our corn than anyone else in Texas.
Over 10 million pounds annually, and they use it to make great products like HEB corn chips.
So when you try them, you're eating a little piece of Texas.
We're the Sawdoff family, and this is the locally grown department at HEB. No store does more than my HEB.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. On our Kritzespon Health Systems feature, we focus on Islander track and field athlete Brandi Garcia and her courageous battle to get back on the track.
Well, Brandi was a real delightful young lady. She came from Laredo. She was a lot of fun to recruit. She had a lot of spirit. She basically had worked her way up through the ranks in cross country from starting off at about her 5th girl at the conference meet. She was our #1 girl. and continued that trend in track. She cut about 10 seconds off her high school PR in the mile. To score, I think she was 5th or 6th as a freshman in the conference in the 1500. Looked really good.
It was first day of practice. It was in West Goose. This was the beginning of August, I believe. It just wasn't the same. Like, I couldn't stick with the girls. The training, I was behind rather than be on the top. I guess it was just like coach and I were frustrated. I had a lot of high expectations. So me and I started thinking like, what's going on? Like, what is it? Why am I so slow? I just thought my body was just tired. But never in my mind I thought it would be a sickness. So it was during weight practice, I remember. And my stomach was just hurting so bad. I just thought it was a usual girl problem. And so I went home and I noticed it was something more severe. So I went to the emergency room and it was really late and they told me my uterus was forming blood clots. So I had to do a quick surgery to remove them. And from that, I lost a lot of blood, so I was anemic. And then I had to do multiple blood transfusions to pick up my blood pressure, and nothing was working. After the hospital and I was released, I went to stay with my mom for a while. And then that's when I went to go see Dr. Carragus to do like a follow-up. And he told me my hormone levels were out of control and that they're very high. And he told me if they weren't low by the following week, I would have to start doing chemotherapy.
At the onset of it, it was devastating, and it was devastating to the team. She'd been the #1 kid, and all of a sudden, she wasn't there. You can put yourself in her shoes and think about what it was like when you were 18 or 19 and had somebody come on and say, you have a potentially, deadly diagnosis and the future is not sure anymore. And all of a sudden, life becomes very, very real. And she handled it very well, but yeah, it was stressful all around. Her family, friends, the team. It was. Obviously it was not a good thing. Now it's turned out pretty good, but it was, it was not good at the time.
Dr. Carragus sent me to Dr. Manalo. She works in downtown Crisispan. She told me that I would have to start doing chemotherapy the following week. And lucky for me, it wasn't as severe. Instead of a whole bag of transfusion, I just did like a little shot of chemo. But even something small, it took a big hold of my body. My first treatment, I was tired. My mom was with me, and she took me back to my apartment. I just didn't want to do anything. I just laid down and I just slept for a while, like for multiple hours. I was just asleep, and she would wake me up, forcing me to eat, and I didn't want to. It's hard to explain until you go through it yourself, you can say. I started in October, around February, so it wasn't long. Because we caught she said cancer, my stage was in the first stage. Dr. Manalo, she told me, she's like, this may be your last cancer shot. So I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. I'm like, that's great. She's like, okay, so we'll see you in 2 weeks after my last treatment. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll see what the results say. And she told me, like, she comes into the room, and she's like, guess what? I'm like, what? And she's like, you're cancer-free. And I didn't cry to her. I didn't want to. I was just very excited. I went straight to my nurse, and I hugged her. Driving home, I called my mom, and I told her, and she started crying, and I still didn't cry. I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. Like, this is something I should be excited about. Like, yeah, tears of joy, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna cry. But once I went home, I just cried, cause I guess it was such a big relief. Before the Islander Splash, I was nervous because that was also the last race I had run before cancer, before I was diagnosed with cancer. Like, I had goosebumps, I was scared, I was nervous, I didn't know what to do. I know I was ready to run, but I knew I wasn't ready to compete as I used to before. And my coach told me, like, you don't have to finish it all. You can walk out when you're tired. My girls were like, you can do it, like, don't worry, just try to stay tough. As soon as the gun went off, I told myself just not to give up. Because I was ready to stop so many times, but I knew I had to make up for what had happened before. I just wanted to finish the race. I didn't care what pace I came in. I didn't care how tired I looked. I don't care how bad I looked. As long as I finished that race, I knew I would be so happy.
Today, she looked like herself again. She was doing a workout where she was doing every other interval with the 8-1500 group. And, you know, she'd been tagging along, and all of a sudden, you know, when we had 4 200s to do, and I said, okay, hey, you take the lead on this one, and boom, she shot out there, and it was like that's what she was waiting for. She ran a 34-second 200, which is the fastest she's run since she's come back, and you know, hey, this is the, you know, this was her best workout today, and you know, if we can continue to have days like this, you know, she's going to get back to where she was before.
Lung cancer is the leading cancer killer in both men and women. Because most cases are diagnosed in the most advanced stage, early detection is the key to survival. Are you between the age of 55 and 74? Have a smoking history of at least 30 pack years? Radiology and Imaging of South Texas and Christus Spohn Cancer Center have joined together to offer affordable lung cancer screenings. Call 1-855-557-7646 to schedule, because what you can't see can kill you.
All right, everybody, if this doesn't get your toes tapping, then check your pulse.
The joy of cola, joy of bubbles, joy of fun, joy of Pepsi on your tongue, greatest taste sensation under the sun. Pepsi Cola.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we're joined by the head athletic trainer for Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, Jerry Hilker. Jerry, good to see you.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it. Thank you.
March is National Athletic Training Month, and an acknowledgement, we want to bring you on the show to kind of talk a little bit more about athletic training. You are the man in charge, so you're definitely the character we want to have here. Now, how many years have you been here at the Island University, and in your time here, what ways has the Islanders Athletic Training Department evolved?
Sure. It's been 10 years, and actually August will be 11 years. So it's interesting how fast time has just kind of moved on since my wife and family and I arrived here to the island. But it's grown so much. In August 2005, when I showed up, I want to say there was about 5,000 as far as students. And Bay Hall was just completed at that time, and you know we all worked out of the at the time at Moody's field house, and you've got a small maybe about a 900 square foot facility in Moody, and about 600 square feet is usable space. So we have pretty much all the same sports except for beach volleyball now. But so much has changed, and in June of 2010 we moved over into the Athletic Training Center in Island Hall. And wow, what a huge upgrade, and that's just been a welcomed shot in the arm for everybody.
Your athletic team now works outside the parameters of athletics. You mentioned it a moment ago. What was the process establishing a partnership with ROTC here on the Texas A&M University campus, and are there opportunities for athletic trainers in the armed services?
The interesting thing with our profession is that it constantly evolves, and the athletic training profession is anywhere from performing arts to working in NASCAR to military doing or performing in tactical medicine. And the neat thing is, many years ago, we would have cadets come through periodically asking for assistance, and that evolved into numerous conversations with Major Atwood, and presenting him an idea with establishing a ROTC, an athletic trainer dedicated to ROTC cadets, and of that making that a graduate assistant was a no-brainer for him. He immediately responded and said, yes, how soon can we get this done? And just pretty much of a matter of, I would say, a year's time, they were able to find a benefactor and funding and continue this today. So we've had this set up for 2 years with Hannah, and we're looking to continue. Sure. and continue that relationship.
Absolutely. Now, as we mentioned at the start of the interview, March is National Athletic Training Month.
Yes.
And this year's theme is a safer approach to work, life, and sport.
Yes.
What is the primary message that the National Athletic Trainers Association is trying to get people to understand about the role of athletic trainers?
Well, the role of athletic trainers, as you indicated, with helping with team sports or identifying with with preventing an accident and play. The clinical side of athletic training is and I've touched on earlier, is being seen in performing arts, in the industry side of things, with respects to the military and tactical medicine and such. So it's really identifying the need that the athletic trainer can provide in the healthcare community. With our unique abilities and experiences that we kind of bring to the market, really helps, I would say, round out that opportunity for potential employers or particular settings. But the overall message is to get the athletic trainer in different settings to help out, whether it's from an ergonomic standpoint, in an industrial setting, or in a traditional or more traditional settings such as in the high school. But now we're seeing the huge need and the value of having the athletic trainer working with I would say it's like a middle school age or even younger. So like a Pop Warner is what I'm thinking of right now, as far as club sports in like a rec sports setting and on a college campus. You see some athletic trainers there, but it's not an overwhelming, I would say, demand. But right now, even on this campus, we've been approached numerous times with additional coverage and assistance. So,
well, I'll tell you one thing, you guys work incredibly hard. You do a fantastic job. And
thank you.
Jerry, I want to thank you for coming in.
Great, appreciate it. Thanks for everything, Steve.
No doubt. Jerry Hilker, head athletic trainer for Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. When we come back, we'll bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. You're watching Onitors Insider. Welcome back to Onitors Insider. At this time, let's bring you up to speed on what's next for Onitors Athletics. Onitor Track and Field will be heading to Rice University for the Victor Lopez Classic on Friday and Saturday, the 25th and 26th. This is an all-day event. On Friday the 25th, Onitor Women's Tennis will be back at the Thomas J. Henry Tennis Center to host Sam Houston State at 1 o'clock in a Southland Conference matchup. On Saturday the 26th, they'll continue at the Thomas J. Henry Tennis Center as they'll take on Lamar. That start time, 12 o'clock. And then on Tuesday the 29th, they'll head out on the road to Nacogdoches, Texas to take on Stephen F. Austin at 12 p.m. On Friday and Saturday, the 25th and 26th, Onitor Baseball will finish up a 3-game series against Southeastern Louisiana in Hammond. Those start times, 6 p.m. and 2 p.m. respectively. On Wednesday the 30th, baseball will stay on the road as they travel to Victoria, Texas to take on Houston Victoria. That start time, 5:30. On Friday the 25th, Onitors softball will return to Chapman Field for a 3 o'clock start time as they take on Nichols in Southland Conference play. And then on Saturday the 26th, it'll be doubleheader action against Nichols. Start times 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. On Monday the 28th, Onitor Golf will be competing in the HBU Husky Intercollegiate Invitational at Riverbend Country Club in Houston. They'll play rounds 1 and 2, and then on Tuesday the 29th, they'll finish up the tournament playing round 3. And finally, Onitor Men's Tennis will take to the court at Nichols for a Southland Conference matchup. That start time 2 p.m. on Wednesday the 30th. Once again, we want to thank Steve Greene, head coach of Onitor Volleyball, for joining us here in the press box today, as well as Jerry Hilker, head athletic trainer for Onitors Athletics. Most importantly, once again, we thank you for tuning in. For everyone here at Onitor Athletics and the Onitor broadcast crew, you've been watching Onitors Insider.